What's up guys, David here, MixBus TV. A couple of weeks ago, I released a series of videos in which I took a mix that I did for a client and tried to swap all my analog gear with plugins. You guys love those videos, and it just happened that at the time of the release, STL Tones updated their ControlHub plugin, which by the way, we reviewed some time ago here on the channel. Great plugin, with a totally new feature called Tracer, which promises to be able to take basically a snapshot, a picture of any piece of analog gear or more complex chains like multiple units, save it so that you can use it through STL Tone ControlHub on any material and as many tracks as you want. And this sounds pretty cool. I wish the tracer came while I was filming those videos because I filmed them some time ago. It would have probably saved me some time, but it's still cool nonetheless. You guys asked me if I could try the new tracer and tell you what I think. The STL Tones guys, which are friends, saw those videos, read your comments, got in touch with me, so we are making it happen. And what better place to try it with all this hardware than MixBus TV? Let's take a look. Hello everyone, David here, MixBus TV. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we start, please check the info box down below with all the links, free plugin special discounts, and please go check out the new website, mixbustv.com. In there, you will find all the new mixing and mastering courses on many different genres. Just released the new 2023 hip-hop course, the new rock course, and many others. If you want to up your mix and mastering skills, click the join button down here, become a MixBus TV member, access the exclusive content, get mix consultations with me. And if you enjoy the content, please consider using the super thanks and support the channel. Let's get to the video. All right, first of all, if you missed the first review of the STL Tone ControlHub, great plugin, I put the link in the info box down below. We already reviewed this plugin, so today we are only, so to speak, seeing the new tracer. We're gonna first of all hear how it performs. I will grab a couple of signals and trace them and then compare them with the hardware. And in doing so, I will also show you how to do your trace, how to capture your hardware. And at this point, this plugin opens up many possibilities because I could do a MixBus TV bundle with captures of all my gear. If you guys are interested in this, let me know in the comments down below. I will do 3 different captures with different machines every time, and we'll see how the ControlHub performs. So let's get started because this video is gonna be dense. So first of all, for the first capture, and I'm not gonna try to make this clip sound better, so to speak, because these are all finished mixes, but I'm gonna be a bit heavy-handed with the processing so that we can hear the plugin in action and compare it to the analog. For example, for this first piece of music, which is metal, this song is called Radio 6 by Tragic Forms, amazing band, you need to check them out. For this one, the analog chain is gonna be my 542's tape emulator, both the tape and the transformer, 2 bands in my SPL EQ, the Fusion HF compressor, the synth EQ for the filters is going to be the NG bus compressor for the compression, and I'm also throwing in a little bit of stereo width from the spacecraft. So let's start adding things. 542s first, transformers and tape, then we add the filters with the synth, we add the compression with the NG bus, we add a little bit of muscle with the SPL, a little bit of mid-range with the SPL, and we take care of a little bit of harshness in the high mid-range with the HF compressor. And finally, we put a little bit of stereo width with the spacecraft. So this is without. So it's a quite complex chain. I'm excited for this. I really hope this plugin can help me, because even if I do have my analog gear, I wouldn't mind to have, for example, 2 HG2s. So if I can capture that and put one on the drum and one on the tubas, that's good for me. Or 2 more distressors, right? Or another blue stripe, or another 670, the stamp child. So if it works, this is great for me as well. How to make a trace. In this case, we do a complete signal chain. Later on, we'll also do a compressor. The first step is to locate the audio file that will be ran through the machine. So we locate this file. It's called Tracer Tone V1. We import it into our section right here. And then step 2, as you can see, we run the tracer audio file from your DAW out through the desired signal chain. And step 3, we import the process tracer audio file by clicking the import button, click the trace button to begin the tracing process. This is the tracer file. This is the file that needs to be run through the machines. Instruction tell you to leave a certain amount of decibels. Because I know my hardware very well, I want to make sure that this trace, especially because I have the 542s in it, hit what I know is the sweet spot. Minus 6 dB here, it should be enough. Let me see. The first amber light lights up, so I know my gain staging is where it's supposed to be for this chain in particular. As you can see, I have my 2-bus insert here, and what we're gonna do now is we are gonna bounce in real time. So if you do this in Pro Tools, make sure that the offline is not ticked, because now the audio, this test file, needs to go through the machine top to bottom, and make sure that you're bouncing at the same sample rate and beat depth as the session. We click bounce, and the file now is going to run through our hardware. It's going to take, as you can see, 3 minutes, because this cannot be done offline. As you can see from my lights, they are all on because the audio is passing in real time through the machines. So the tracer tone file ran through the hardware. We are now going to duplicate this track so we can compare. We are going to open our instance of STL ControlHub in the new track. We click complete signal chain, and we import now what we just passed through the machines. So in this case, in the bounce file folder, we find STL metal test. We open it, and as you can see, ControlHub imported it. Check the audio levels, they are good. There's 4.3 dB of headroom, and we proceed. At this point, we have the option to trace mono or stereo. Of course, this is a full 2-bus stereo processing, so we hit trace stereo, and as you can see now, ControlHub, what is doing is comparing the tracer tone raw to the tracer tone ran through the machines. And the difference is the picture of our, at this point, very complex chain. We have the SPL EQ, we have the HF compressor on the Fusion, we have the filters from the synth, the 542's tape emulator with the red transformer, we have the NG bus compressor, and we have the spacecraft on the moon for a little bit of a stereo width. And I'm sure, like I said, you guys will be interested in me doing a Mix Bus TV pack with all my hardware. There's quite some cool pieces of gear here. Besides the HG2, there's the Mastering 670, the spacecraft, which is almost unobtainium at this point. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to produce this pack. The tracing is complete, and now we are gonna save this. We're gonna put it in a test folder that I already have. We call this metal 2-bus. Color, I think it's what color as in saturation. So we'll put 542s with red transformer. Compression is the NG bus. The master EQ is the SPL. Then we have the synth EQ for the filters as well. And the effects, we have the spacecraft. And we save it. So let's make the plugin a different color. Let's make it baby blue. So we'll start with the mix with nothing on it. We'll engage ControlHub and then compare it to the hardware. I think it's pretty impressive. That is very cool. So this was a really hard task for the plugin, because I didn't just ask it to capture 1 or 2 pieces of gear. This was really hard. The 542s are by far one of the hardest piece of hardware to capture and or replicate with plugins. We have the SPL with the 120 volts rail technology. We have 2 dynamic processors the HF compressor and the NG bus compressor. We have the spacecraft for the stereo width. We have the filters of the synth with the 1073 transformer in it. And we were darn close, and it took 3 minutes as opposed to 3 days of work with me with the other test with like changing plugins. There were a couple of minor differences. As you can see, I kind of boosted 1.5 dB in shelf because the hardware was a little more open, and I kind of cut a little bit here in this 120, 140 range, I think, because it was a little too dense there. But with these two minor moves, which is just tone, this is already closer than anything that I could try with any other plugin. And so let's hear it again. This is the hardware. Yeah, this is, that's very cool. This is as close I've ever heard a plugin getting to the hardware. Now, I'm not sure, I didn't play too long with this plugin and with this new tracer. I'm almost trying it with you guys for the first time. I did a first test just to make sure I wasn't embarrassing myself trying to understand how to do the trace live. For what I understand, the capture is a static picture, but also you do enough traces, you are gonna have good range and versatility. I also have these two different pieces of music, different genres, to hear the differences on different genres. So this is the first one, raw, with nothing on it.
This is true hate for my babe. You're sick of my mouth. You're sick of my doubt. You wanna play games in peace. You're sick of my tears. You're sick of getting caught, my dear. Goodbye, goodbye to the tears. Goodbye, goodbye to the fears. Good times, let's put a dime. Good times, until our time. You know what you're doing, you know how you're moving. Taste dark lipstick on those cherry blossom lips.
This is impressive. This is impressive just because of the low end of the 542s. That's very, very exciting. Hats off to STL Tones. So in all honesty, there was a little bit of level difference in favor of the plugin. So I just want to be like fair. So we need to lower the plugin a little bit here.
This is true hate for my babe. You're sick of my mouth. You're sick of my doubt. You wanna play games in peace. You're sick of my tears. You're sick of getting caught, my dear. Goodbye, goodbye to the tears. Goodbye, goodbye to the fears. Good times, let's put a dime. Good times, until our time. You know what you're doing, you know how you're moving. Taste dark lipstick on those cherry.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So there are like a couple of minor differences that I can hear in my mains. The dynamic nature of the hardware is just inherent to the hardware. The stereo width is just like, I want to say 5% different. The mid-range a little bit, but again, these are all details that at the end of the day, I don't even know if they would make a difference, to be honest, as opposed to what we've seen trying to exchange the hardware with plugins and try to replicate, you know, the saturation, the bottom end. This is a picture, even if it's a static picture, again, it's a damn good picture. I am quite impressed. Let's do the third song. This is Without First.
Well, you fucking suck. You think you need a shrink and sit in an office with him so we can concoct some nonsense diagnosis like narcissism? Just cause I picture myself running opposite of Hillary Rodham Clinton and rocking 24 carats with diamonds in them. These artists, my offspring, I'm not bonding with them. I'm fucking they mamas with no condom in them, fathering them, having them swallow a couple of bottles of up in. I put a lot of fucking fear of God up in them. Not religious. I'm I'm a menace and a monster getting godless with it. I'm Akhenaten, I'm a shaman with the laws of physics. Listen, y'all don't want to brawl with the god of war. You can have that Mars bar, I'm eating lobster for dinner.
Yeah, no, this thing is legit, just hands down. It's interesting because comparing the three, and again, I did not set the hardware for the two other extra piece of audio, Bella's Goodbye and Lobster. I can hear, but probably only I can hear this, the different behavior of the static capture in mix number 2 and mix number 3. For example, in mix number 3, the low end is really big, like a little too big. While, again, because the analog is dynamic, it's almost, we want to say, alive. We don't have that in the analog, but all I need to do really is just lower here the low end, the bottom end a little bit, and you know, probably like a dB or something, and we would be there. Let's do another capture. Let's do another capture with another setup. For the next capture, I'm gonna use a drum, just a drum stem like this. And we're gonna capture a compressor, which is different, as we saw earlier, than the complete signal chain. You can see, if I click compressor, the setup part is the same, but there are guidelines for capturing specifically a compressor, because of course we are capturing one setting, but then we have our dynamic module here in the control hub, and we want it to respond when we change the attack, the release, the ratio, as close as possible to how our captured compressor sounds. So I'm gonna capture the West Audio RIA tube compressor, and I have attack at 20, release at 0.9, which is as close as possible that we can get. We're not gonna engage any sidechain filter or any THD. And again, this will not capture the color of the compressor, but only the behavior. What you can do is you can do multiple capture of a unit if you want both the full control plus the color. But let's trace our RIA. So here we have the file, and we have to make sure that the levels are fine. It says that we should aim for a -3 dBFS. So let's boost our output until we hit that. I'd rather be conservative with the level than going overboard. -4 is gonna be fine. And let's bounce this again, and we call it instead West Audio RIA comp. All right, the tracer tone went through the RIA compressor. We duplicate this. Now, to be fair, the RIA is a vari-mu compressor, so it doesn't have a ratio, okay? The guidelines tend to use a 4:1 ratio. The RIA is a variable ratio, as all the vari-mu compressors, but we can't make it too easy. So I'm gonna be even more impressed if it's closer. Let's open our STL. Let's trace compressor at this point. Let's import our West Audio RIA. Analyzing the audio, we have headroom, proceed again, trace stereo, because it's still a stereo compressor that we are using. And of course, remember, you can do all this with plugins. So if you have a chain of plugins, like 4 plugins in Insert that you like, and you like that combination instead of opening 4 plugins, which might be CPU intensive or simply just you save time, you can do exactly what I'm doing with hardware. With a chain of plugins, save it and have it in your presets. So the tracing is complete. Let's save this one. And you can see our dynamic is already on. The compressor says it's RIA right there. Let me change color. Let's make the STL red and the hardware green. This is the drum with the RIA. And this is our capture. This is impressive. This is this is very cool. This is very cool. I want to try to push the compression and see if it actually reacts the same. So I'm just going to push the hardware. And I'm going to match now here. So attack at 10, I put little faster release. And I'm gonna push the compression How much do we have on the RIA? About 10 dB of compression. Okay, when you push it is a little bit different. You can hear the low end is different. The grab is a little bit different, but also we have a Varimu which has variable ratio. So it's kind of normal. I want to try to engage the sidechain a little bit to see if we can let the low end breathe a little bit. With a little bit of adjustment, you see the ratio really changes a lot, and we are not supposed, I guess, to capture a Varimu that doesn't have a set ratio, because the guidelines say 4:1 ratio. So probably with the distressor or another machine, or the Dion or NG bus machines that have set ratio, the capture would also respond closer when you change settings, but this is definitely as close as I've ever heard a plugin get to a piece of hardware. I want to do one last capture. I'm going to capture only one piece of gear, but again, a pretty muscular piece of gear. We're going to capture my Gain Lab Audio Empress EQ, but I will also engage the tube boost, which if you saw the review video of this equalizer, which is a tube equalizer, it's fantastic EQ. The tube boost is a whole new level in color and density. So while being fair to the plugin, we don't feed him a whole bunch of stuff like I did at the beginning, which by the way did a great job. I'm giving it one piece of gear, but at the same time it's got multiple things to capture. So the EQ and the tube boost. And the capture is done. So let's change color. Let's make the STL green, and this is our mix with nothing on it. This is the hardware. This is the STL. That is very impressive. That is very impressive. There's a tiny bit more punch and focus on the hardware, but I think if I do this, let me see where the frequency here is. Not even a dB of boost and shelf, I think I'm gonna get there. I think this tracer is really cool. This tracer is really cool. And despite what some people think, I am actually very happy because you know what? I can use another Empress EQ without buying another Empress EQ. And that actually happens very often because I adore the top end of this EQ. many times ends up on lead vocals, and I maybe want it for drums or guitars or tubas, and I don't have another one. So if I can capture a simple top lift at 12 or 16 and slap it where I need it without buying a new one, hey, I'm the happiest guy in the world. And the same for other machines that I have, and I don't have 2, 3, 4 of them. This is great. This is absolutely great. Honest opinion, this is really the closest that I ever heard a plugin get to a piece of hardware. And of course, this is completely different. It literally takes a picture of an audio picture of the hardware. And yes, there are minor differences, of course. And actually, I repeat it just in case, you know, not everybody watches the entire video. If you want a MixBus TV pack of traces for ControlHub, let me know in the comments down below. But this is it for the video. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you like the video, please consider using the super thanks, support the channel. Check out the new website, mixbustv.com. In there, you will find all the new mix and mastering courses, many different genres, 2 brand new courses just released, Hip Hop 2023 and Metal Rock 2023. On the website, you can book private lessons, mix consultation, mix and mastering production, and a lot more. If you want to up your mix and mastering skills, click the join button down here, become a MixBus TV member, access the exclusive content. The link to ControlHub is going to be in the info box down below. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.
Hands on my neck, hands grip my throat, lift me up.